Good morning, children. This video is for anyone who's working in the Obelisk group. Please pause the video now and answer your Fluent in 5 starter. And here are your answers. Today, children, we are going to be reading a range of two-way tables and answering questions by interpreting the information in the tables. Now, a two-way table is a table that has headings on the side and along the top. So on the left-hand side, we've got year groups, so year 1, year 2, and total. And along the top, we've got lunches, packed lunch, school dinner, and total. As it says here, this table shows the lunches that children in Key Stage 1 have. As you can see, our table, it's a bit unusual. We've got letters instead of numbers, but that's fine. In this case, it just wants us, instead of having numbers, it just gives us letters as the answer. So we're going to give the letter as the answer. To note that this number here, always in the bottom right hand corner, is always the total of all the children. So all the children in Key Stage 1, this would be our total. So which letter shows? The number of children who have a school dinner. So we're looking at this column here, school dinner. This letter here, B, shows us how many children in year 1 have school dinner. This data here, B, is part of, shows the amount of children in year 1 and how many of those children in year 1 have a school dinner. This here tells us the amount of children in year 2 who have a school dinner, E. This letter here shows us the total of year 1 and year 2 put together, how many have school dinner. Now, it's asked us that the number of children have a school dinner. This one's our total amount. So we're going to be looking at this column here. If this row and this column, if this was a number, this is the answer we'll be looking for. But it's also asking us for the letter. So the letter we need is H. H is showing the number of children who have a school dinner. The next statement says how many year 2 children have a packed lunch. So we're looking at this this row here and this column. So we're going to find which column, which letter represents this. So year 2, D, is in the column of packed lunch. So D shows how many children in year 2 have packed lunch. Our next question. This table shows the sandwich sales in a shop. So we've got with crisp or with fruit. So the sandwich is sold with either crisp or fruit, and whether they have hot or cold sandwiches. The first question we've got is how many people bought a hot sandwich with fruit? So our key information is hot and with fruit. So this is our hot column. So we know the answer is going to be here, and we've got to find match the one that is with fruit. Now, as we can see, this one says with fruit. So this here is our answer. They match and they're in line. So 11 is our answer. Which was the most popular meal? Now, this question is quite a good one to be answering, because we're not after the meal, these numbers on the outside. These numbers here actually just tell us how many sandwiches, hot sandwiches were sold. But that's not a meal, that's just telling us how many sandwiches were sold which were hot. We don't want this number because this is telling us how many cold sandwiches were sold, but it doesn't tell us with what. And here on this number here, 60, this just tells us how many sandwiches were sold with crisp, but doesn't tell us whether it was a hot or cold sandwich. Same here, but this is just with fruit, but we don't know if it's hot or cold. And this number here tells us how many sandwiches were sold all together without it being with either being with crisp or fruit. So we need to look at these 4 boxes here and see which is the greatest number. And we can see that the largest number is 34. So cold sandwich, because it's in this column, 34, with crisp, because it's in that row, was the most popular meal. The last question we've got, circle the option that will complete the table. So number of hours worked by staff. We've got under 20 hours, 20 hours or more, male, female, and total. We've got a missing number here. Now we can work this out in 2 ways. When we're looking at a question like this, the total is always going to be our largest number. So if we were to take female, there were 16 who worked under 20 hours. There was a number that worked 20 hours or more, but together there was 52 female members of staff who worked, disregarding the amount of hours they worked. So we need to work out what this number here is. Now we've already got the largest number. If we add these 2 numbers together, that number is going to be greater than the answer. So to work this out, we need to do the inverse, the opposite. So we're going to do subtraction. And in a subtraction, we must put the biggest number at the beginning. I'm going to take away 16 away from 52. Now we're going to use a column method to help us work this out. 52 take away 16. 2 take away 6 we cannot do because 6 is greater than 2. So we're going to exchange. We turn the 5 into a 4 and put a 1 in front of the 2. 12 take away 6 equals 6. 4 take away 1 equals 3. So that answer there is 36, which means this answer here is 36. Do we have 36 here? 32, 34, 36. So our answer is 36. That's your input for today's lesson. So please now go to your task sheet and answer the questions. Best of luck.